Imagine a story so terrifying, even the dead would shiver, where shadows whisper secrets, black magic brews in the dark, and a deadly pact seals a chilling fate. Brace yourself. This is not just horror, it's pure nightmare fuel. The story begins with a beautiful girl named Suzzanna and her boyfriend, Sor, who loved each other deeply. But Susanna's father, addicted to gambling, had lost everything: his house, land, and even his daughter. He handed her over to Raiden, the richest man in the village, but also old and disgusting. When Sor finds out, he goes mad with anger. On the wedding day, he barges in and causes chaos in front of everyone. Then he beats up Raiden's men and calls Raiden a coward and a vile man in front of everyone. But Sor alone couldn't overpower them all. He gets caught, tied to a tree, and Raiden himself lashes him. Suzzanna, helpless, can only watch everything in silence. When Raiden orders to cut off Sor's hand, Suzzanna falls to the ground and begs, "Let him go, I'll do whatever you say." A cunning smile spreads across Raiden's face, and he drags Suzzanna into a room. From that night onward, Suzzanna becomes his mistress, and in the eyes of Raiden's wife, Minati, a thorn. The next morning, Suzzanna wakes up to a strange chill. As she lifts the blanket, she sees long black snakes crawling in her bed. Terrified, she tries to run, but even the floor is full of venomous snakes. Somehow, she manages to escape. She realizes this is Minati's way of scaring her. In just a few days, Suzzanna becomes pregnant. Minati, who could never conceive, becomes furious upon hearing this. She goes to someone named Jaya and says, under any circumstance, Suzzanna had to be killed. That very night, while Suzzanna was drinking tea, she suddenly started coughing. A long black hair came out of her mouth. She began trembling with fear but couldn't say a word. She knew that for Raiden, she was nothing more than a baby-producing machine. He would never fight Minati for her. The next day, she went to the market to meet Sor and told him everything. Sor started trying to save her. Meanwhile, Minati was pressuring Saman to work faster. But now Jaya's intentions toward Minati had turned evil. He offered to perform black magic in exchange for a physical relationship, and Minati, blinded by revenge, agreed. Meanwhile, Suzzanna started going into labor, but the baby wasn't born even by nightfall. This was happening because at that very moment, Jaya was performing a dark ritual. He held a black hen in his hand and began his tantric practices on it. As he squeezed the hen, strange movements began in Suzzanna's belly. The nurse, Rati, who was standing nearby, got so scared that she hid in a corner. When Jaya blew on the hen's feathers, Suzzanna's bulging stomach suddenly twisted toward her back, and she screamed in pain and collapsed to the floor. At that exact moment, Jaya slit the hen's throat, and Suzzanna's back split open. Everyone was shocked to see such a mysterious and painful death, but Minati shrugged it off in front of everyone, saying that Suzzanna had performed some black magic on herself. Coincidentally, that night was a new moon night, Amavasya, and she suffered the reverse effects of Jaya's ritual. When Raiden heard that the baby was safe, he stopped caring about Suzzanna's death. Early in the morning, Suzzanna's maid Rati had just stepped out of the door when she saw Sor approaching. He had brought a talisman to save Suzzanna, but Rati broke down in tears and revealed that Suzzanna had mysteriously died the previous night. Sor was stunned to hear this. He hadn't known he would be too late. As night fell, he dug up Suzzanna's grave. When he saw her face, it was pale and lifeless, but the wound on her back was still terrifying. Hugging her body, Sor swore that he would avenge her death. He then decided that Suzzanna would be reburied in a peaceful and sacred place. But on the way, due to exhaustion, he fell asleep holding her body close to his chest. At dawn, Sor heard a mysterious voice. It kept asking, "Who are you holding?" The voice called itself Samel. After learning the cause of Suzzanna's death, Samel asked Sor, "Do you want your girlfriend back? Do you want to take revenge on her murderers?" The condition was that he must give his and Suzzanna's child to Samel, the demon. Sor accepted the deal to bring Suzzanna back. Samel warned, "If you break the promise, I will take her soul back." Suddenly, a bright lightning flashed, and Suzzanna started breathing again. Sor was overwhelmed with joy, but then he noticed the wound on her back was still there. She was no longer human. She had become half alive, half dead. As soon as Suzzanna regained consciousness, she ran towards her home to see her daughter. But as she neared the house, some strange force stopped her. She realized someone had placed a protective shield around her daughter. The next day, Sor called Rati and took her to the forest where Suzzanna had been brought back to life. Soon, Rati saw a figure draped in a white sari. Suzzanna was seen sitting on a tree branch. She fell to the ground, trembling with fear. Rati said, "I don't know anything. Please forgive me." But Suzzanna had no intention of scaring her. She just wanted to know how her daughter was doing. Rati explained that the child was perfectly fine, but she was afraid that Meenakshi might harm her. She revealed that once Meenakshi had tried to forcibly drown the child in water. If Rati hadn't arrived in time, the child might not have survived. Then Rati shared another terrifying detail. Jaya would often come to Meenakshi's house and claim that there was an evil spirit lurking in the home. Eventually, everyone realized that the spirit was none other than Suzzanna's. Now, if Suzzanna wanted to get her daughter back, she would first have to remove the protective shield Jaya had placed. That's why Rati, Sur, and Meenakshi went to meet Jaya. Sur directly told Jaya that Suzzanna had come back to life after dying and was here to reclaim her daughter. They asked him to stop all this and remove the influence of his dark powers from the house. But upon hearing this, Jaya began laughing loudly. With a gesture of his hand, Suzzanna's reflection appeared in the bowl of water placed on the table. In fact, he already knew that Suzzanna was alive again, but he was confident that she would never be able to confront him. Sur began to suspect that Jaya might be the one who had performed black magic on Suzzanna. As soon as Sur took out a knife to make Jaya confess, Jaya used his powers to suspend him in midair and immobilize him. At the same moment, Suzzanna, who was standing outside, also became frozen by magic. Jaya then began to tell Sur that Suzzanna had now become a vengeful spirit, one who could be a danger to anyone. As soon as Jaya picked up the knife to kill Sur, Minati suddenly jumped in between and took the blow of the knife herself. At the same moment, Minati pulled off the amulet hanging around Jaya's neck and threw it into the fire. As soon as the amulet burned, Jaya's powers weakened drastically. Sur took advantage of the moment and knocked her to the ground. But Minati's condition was so critical that she died within moments. Jaya was still not ready to give up. He quietly picked up the knife again and was about to attack Sur when suddenly the room was engulfed in darkness. From behind him, a terrifying laugh echoed. When he turned around, Suzzanna was standing right behind him. With a single blow, Suzzanna crushed him, killing Jaya instantly. The next morning, Minati came to meet Jaya as usual, but as soon as she opened the door, Jaya's dead body lay in front of her. She was horrified. That night, while she was combing her hair in front of the mirror, she suddenly felt like she wasn't combing her own hair, but someone else's. When she looked up, Suzzanna was hanging upside down right above her head. Terrified, Minati screamed loudly and ran toward the bed. But Suzzanna suddenly vanished. Her chilling laughter still echoed in the room. Minati looked around in panic, but then someone pushed her to the ground. Someone started dragging her, and she began trembling in fear. When she saw that the one dragging her was none other than her husband Radon, she pleaded with him, "Please call a tantric, spiritual healer. Suzzanna will come back." But Radon completely dismissed her words. According to him, Suzzanna was already dead, and her return was impossible. When Minati, disheartened by Raiden's disbelief, took him to Suzzanna's grave, even the sight there couldn't convince him. The grave was completely empty. Still, he insisted it was all a trick by Sur. When Raiden finally listened to his wife Minati, he couldn't hold back and angrily asked, "Why did you do black magic on Suzzanna?" In reality, Raiden already knew everything. Minati clearly confessed that she did it because she didn't want Raiden to find happiness with another woman. Hearing this, Raiden became furious and shouted, "It's because of you that this house is always in trouble." However, in the end, he accepted her reasoning and called an experienced summoner to set up a protective shield for the house. The summoner informed them that there was a party at Raiden's house the next night, so he gave Minati 2 protective talismans and told her to keep them with her for safety in case of danger. On the night of the party, Suzzanna entered the house in the form of Rati, but before she could reach her daughter, Minati used one of the talismans and discovered Suzzanna's true identity. Suzzanna didn't keep up the pretense anymore. She twisted her neck backward, revealing her terrifying form, leaving Minati speechless. Then Suzzanna's horrifying laughter echoed, and all the lights in Raiden's house burst, plunging the home into darkness. A guard ran into the room, but Suzzanna slammed him to the ground and hurled him into the air. Soon the entire house was filled with screams and chaos. When Raiden learned of this, he rushed back home with a few more guards. Meanwhile, Sur also sneaked into the house under the cover of darkness, trying to find Suzzanna's daughter. On his way, he was stopped by 2 of Raiden's guards, but Sur easily defeated them. As he moves forward, both guards try to ambush him, but just then, Suzzanna arrives and finishes them off. However, Minati was still not ready to give up. She threatened Suzzanna with her daughter's life. Raiden also fired at her. Now only one nail was left to be hammered, and Suzzanna's end seemed certain. But Sir quickly grabbed the gun and shot Saman instead. Then he pulled the nail from Suzzanna's body and drove it into Saman's head. After that, Suzzanna also killed Radan. Minati, terrified, ran outside and along the way, threw the child on the ground. But Suzzanna used her power to shift the straw and grass and caught the child just before she could hit the ground. For the first time, she got a chance to hug her daughter. As for Minati, Suzzanna did to her what had been done to herself. She turned her stomach inside out and walked out of it. Sir was shocked to see that Suzzanna, in her quest for revenge, was no longer human. He was even more shaken when Suzzanna said, "Now my daughter will not go with you. You must die too, so that all three of us can be together forever." Sir had no other choice. With a heavy heart, he drove the same nail into Suzzanna's head, ending her once and for all. This also ended the deal between him and Samil, the demon. After that, Sir respectfully buried Suzzanna again and kept visiting her grave every year with her daughter. On the surface, this story seems like a horror film, but in reality, it's a bitter family truth, where love, jealousy, and the fire of revenge burned everything down. Suraya truly loved Suzzanna, but he knew that life doesn't come again. Maybe now they'll only meet in that other world. With this, the story ends here. Subscribe this channel for more stories like this,